All right, aloha. So this is actually the chapter 5 key terms video, and doing this a little bit differently. I'm actually just using some of the time at the end of one of our class sessions. Nobody else is on right now, but if somebody jumps on in the middle of this, you'll see participants join the meeting. But I got some feedback from students. Thank you very much for that, about things that have been helpful. And one of the things that was mentioned was doing these videos so you know the key terms. What are some of the key things to look for during this week as you are preparing for quizzes and preparations for the midterm and things like that. So for this week, chapter 5, data center. If that's a word that you are unfamiliar with, you should understand what a data center is and how it is used in industry for not just networking, but for computer systems and servers in general. I guess my glasses are a bit distracting. Got like that screen reflected on my glasses, but if I take them off, then I don't know if I'll be able to see my notes, but I'll try. So a data center, and then like we talked about in chapter 3, protocols. In this case, you should be able to recognize the acronym, sort of the short little letter combination for a number of different protocols. So that would be HTTP and HTTPS, POP, like soda pop, SMTP, SSH, FTP, IMAP, SNMP, and LDAP. So the last one, we often just call it LDAP, and IMAP for one of the ones I mentioned earlier, and then POP. But the other ones are pretty much all spelled out by letters: HTTP, SMTP, SSH, FTP, SNMP. So you should be able to recognize those acronyms and understand what they mean. What service is provided by those different protocols? Is it email, or is it DNS, or is it web services? So you should understand, not only be able to identify and recognize what those protocols are by name, but what services that actually provide. And another super important set of protocols that are kind of pairs with each other. One is called TCP, and the other one is UDP. So you should definitely be able to identify what those protocols mean and what are key differences and similarities between those protocols. Transmission Control Protocol, TCP, and UDP. Really, the internet backbone is built on this TCP/IP protocol stack standard. So super important. In general, the idea of ports and sockets. So I mentioned a variety of different protocols, HTTP and POP and SMTP. Well, along with those, you should be able to know, you should just really just memorize it. You should have memorized what are the common, what are the standard protocols, what are the standard ports for those protocols. If it's web, HTTP, port 80, or if it's secure, HTTPS, it'll be port 443. You can run it on different ports, but those are the defaults. Those are the standards that everybody in the industry globally will expect your web traffic to be on port 80, unless you have it non-standard for some specific reason. So for all of those protocols, you should know and just have memorized what are the ports. Related to the port is a term called socket. So basically, when you have an address, like an IP address, and a port together, that creates a socket. So you should be able to understand that and how these ports are selected, as well as some other common ports. I didn't mention, there's literally thousands of ports and protocols, but the common ones, and there's lots of lists. You can go to Google and type common ports protocols and see lists of those. And then the last part for this chapter 5, in terms of like key terms, DNS functionality. When my computer wants to figure out how to get to Google or how to get to some other resources, what is the process that DNS uses? How does it figure out, what are the steps that it does to figure out how to get from my computer to google.com or to facebook.com or to byuh.edu or lds.org or whatever that new name is, churchofjesuschrist.org, I think it is. So understand what are those protocols, what are the steps that the protocol takes, what's the sequence for DNS. You should understand that as well. So that's it for chapter 5. Hope you enjoy the beautiful mountains here behind me. I'm not actually in those mountains. I bet you knew that. Anyway, have a great week, and look forward to seeing you next chapter 6.